So I bought a Super 8 camera. Never shot Super 8 before in my life, but I figured why not learn on a fishing trip to Vermont? I brought some Kodak film and headed up to visit a friend, hoping at least one of these rolls would turn out. So it's a little bit of a departure from... The first morning started with my buddy Eric and I heading to the lake. Now, I'm definitely a beginner when it comes to fishing, and by beginner, I mean Eric literally did all the work while I held a rod. Now, one big reason why I got into Super 8 is the imperfect nature of lower resolution, grain, color shifts, everything about film. And I think the nostalgia from film comes from an imperfect memory. It's a fondness for how things felt, and I wanted to mix that feeling with the passing grass fields, trees, and lakes of Vermont. And I'm not even going to pretend I can catch fish. I love the idea of fishing, the peace, the patience, the whole serene vibe. But in reality, I mean, again, Eric handled everything while I just pointed the Super 8 camera and hoped I was in focus. And luckily, I got some moments of us reeling in some rainbow trout and the beautiful lake. After catching some of the tiniest fish in the entire lake, we decided to call it a day. But hey, a fish is a fish. And the next day started off with some coffee, playing with the dogs, and luckily Eric's wife was able to join us on the boat for the second day. Now, one thing about shooting Super 8, and maybe this is specific to the camera that I was using, it was really hard to tell what I had in focus. The viewfinder is tiny, and everything looks fine until you get some scans back and realize, nope, it was not fine. But honestly, again, the imperfect nature of Super 8 really helps even when you completely whiff focus. As for the film, I shot with Kodak Vision 3 film stock, which may sound familiar to you if you shot 35mm film. Kodak Vision 3, 50D, 200T, 500T, it's the same film stock more or less used in things like Cinestill 800T and Reflex Lab 800 35mm film rolls. So this is the original Kodak movie stock that they end up respooling into those tiny little canisters. Now, this isn't sponsored, but I want to give a quick shout out to Gura Gear. They were just nice enough to send me their city commuter bag to test out before my trip. It fit the Canon Super 8, my digital camera, tripod, a bunch of Kodak film cartridges, everything I needed in a travel bag, which is great because I'm terrible at packing light. We finished up at the lake with some lunch, which was pretty amazing. But we were a little hungry, so I had a second lunch back at the house. On the last day, we had to fix a couple things on the boat before heading out to Lake Champlain near Burlington. I believe I tried using Kodak 200T as my last cartridge of film, and it ended up with some really weird color casts in the garage. This is likely due to the fact that this is 200T, T standing for tungsten balanced film and not daylight. You would obviously know this if you shot film before. I should have bought more daylight balanced film, considering it's an outdoors trip, so Note to self, next time buy more Kodak Vision 3 50D the next time. So this was an awesome opportunity to shoot Super 8 for the first time, and now to talk about the camera and the film that I used. So the Super 8 camera I ended up getting and using for all that footage is this, the Canon 310XL. And loading Super 8 film is really simple. You just pop open this film door here, you take this cartridge, close it up, turn it on, and you're good to go. No worrying about, threading the film, no worrying about light leaks. The cartridge inside does all the work. And this is what made Super 8 film so accessible back in the day, is that anyone could load it. Now, one thing with this particular camera that I struggle with is the viewfinder. It doesn't really have a good focusing aid like a split prism or anything like that, so you're basically eyeballing it through the tiny little window and hoping that you're getting focus. And because this particular one is so small and dim, especially in low light, it's really hard to tell if you're tack sharp. I definitely missed focus on more shots than I'd like to admit, but again, with Super 8, the softer image kind of works in your favor for that aesthetic. This particular camera, the 310XL, came out in 1975, so it's pretty old. It's got a 8-25 zoom lens on it. It's got a macro mode, so you can get about 8 inches away from the subject. And what's really awesome is that this lens has an f1.0 aperture, which is really fast for Super 8, so it handles low light pretty well. It shoots at 18 frames per second, which is pretty standard for these types of cameras. Super 8 cameras were meant for consumers, so lower frame rates meant that you could get more footage out of a cartridge. If you shot at a higher frame rate, like 24 or 30, you burn through the film way faster. So 18 frames per second for a standard Super 8 cartridge is about 3 minutes. So anything faster than that, you're not really getting your money's worth. And honestly, for a first Super 8 camera, I'm really happy with this. It's compact, the macro mode is useful. The auto exposure works really well, that I didn't even really think about it while shooting. The viewfinder is obviously a pain, but that's the kind of trade-off you need with these smaller cameras. If you want a crystal clear viewfinder, you're looking at bigger, heavier models. And just for travel and just messing around, which is why I got the Super 8 camera, this 310XL is really, really solid. For the film stocks, I shot 2 stocks, Kodak Vision 3 50D and Kodak Vision 3 200T. The 50D is daylight balanced, really fine-grained and vibrant colors, great for outdoor shooting. The 200T is warmer and works better in mixed or low light. Both are cinema stocks, so they handle exposure really, really well. And they come in these really tiny boxes. You can get these at B&H, Adorama, I think maybe Amazon. I got this particular one from the Film Photography Project, so they're really easy to buy online. As far as pricing goes, the 310XL runs for about $500 to $600 depending on condition. I got mine from a company called FilmWave for $550. FilmWave refurbishes Super 8 cameras, so you're getting something that's been tested and serviced, which is really important with these older cameras. You can also find these on eBay, K&H, or maybe some other used camera sites, but just make sure that the seller has tested it. The motor and light leaks, electrical issues are the main things to watch out for. And these Super 8 cartridges come about, I think, $40 around, give or take. But now here's the part you need to be prepared for. Developing and scanning Super 8 is really, really expensive. I used a lab in Brooklyn called Negative Land to develop and scan my film. They're the go-to lab for Super 8 around here, especially if you're located in New York. I sent in 4 cartridges for an upscaled 4K video scanning, and the total cost was $413 US. So yeah, factor that into your budget. This isn't a cheap hobby, but if you're serious about shooting film or exploring this, I think it's worth it. So all in all, the camera, film stock, processing, scanning, I spent around $1,200 to $1,500 to get started with Super 8. That's a lot. You definitely don't need to spend that much. You can probably cut that in half, but if you want that look, that texture, that feeling of shooting something tangible, there's really nothing else like it. And for me, it was worth the investment just to see how different it made me think about shooting. And every frame really mattered for motion picture film. And honestly, that's a really good feeling to have. So thanks for watching. That was a ton of fun to explore Super 8 for the first time. I'm definitely gonna try it out, probably not that often because I don't have that kind of money to spend. But I appreciate you taking the time to watch this experience, and I'll have a ton of more videos starting off in 2026.